Hi guys, it's Ugo and welcome back to another video, and today I'll be answering your questions that you make me for the Q&A for the 300 subscribers. Thank you so much for losing a little bit of your time to making some questions. I've seen some of them like passing through, some of them are very interesting, some of them are very normal, so let's start. And I'll start by the first question I received. It was from Larry Has Opinions, and it is, where do I find the best pastel de nata? Well, it's easy. In Lisbon, first of all you have to try the pastéis de Belém, which is, they are not the same, but they are so good. It's if you don't know what pastel de nata is, first is a tart. It's a custard that has like a foil crust and then cream inside. It's so sweet, it's so good, and it's like this big, so you can just try to put it in your mouth in one sit. There are people who eat the cream with a spoon of the coffee and then eat the custard. You have many ways to eat it. So first, pastéis de Belém in Belém. I'll try to put here some pictures of the places. It's where you find the best. It's the best well-known place. Is where everyone goes. You can have for takeout, or you can go in and sit and eat like a dozen, half a dozen. Don't worry, you can eat half a dozen, no problem. They are not so big, and then you are with friends, you give a little bit of beverage, you're talking, it's best. Then on pastels de nata normally done, I usually like to go to Confeiteria Nacional. I'll put here the image of the front of the store and also more or less where it is. And I usually, when I have some friend that comes from out of Portugal and I want to try pastel nata, I'll take them to one of these two places. So definitely this is, I recommend to you to try the pastel de nata. They are amazing, and especially when they are warm. So good. Hi guys, editing Hugo here. So since I filmed the Q&A and I started to editing, I saw that Fatima and Katie asked me two questions, so I'll answer here like very quickly. Fatima from Abril Livre make me two questions. One of them I explained in the end of the video, which basically was, I'm studying. A lot of people like Ian, John, Laura, Gaia, Latina asked me the same questions, or in the same field of what I was studying, what I was doing as a scientist. So that is answered in the last part of the video. And she also asked me what are my principal hobbies without being reading. So besides reading, which is a bigger part of my hobbies, I really like to walk. I really like to travel a little bit. Not much to go other countries because I'm not afforded that yet, but definitely I like to travel in Portugal, like wake up in the morning, have food done, like some lunch thing, get up in the car with my boyfriend and then just drive away, like let's go north, let's go south, let's go somewhere, let's find some place beautiful to eat and to walk and to see something. That's very nice. I really like to play video games. It's a major part. I have a PS3 that now is kind of broken. I don't know if they can fix it or not, but yeah, I had a lot of games there. I also like to play Nintendo Switch. I have one, and basically Pokemon. I really like to play Digimon, what was on PS1 and PS2. I also, Kingdom Hearts is amazing. I really liked it. Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy, of course, like 7. I played 7, the 8, the 10. I started the 15 on PC, but I never finished it because the PC was not the best. I like also to play with my boyfriend online gaming. We have Heroes of the Storm, for example, which is like a brawl thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it's fun. I like the heroes. I also like to play Tabletop Simulator with him because he has a lot of tabletop games and board games. For example, you have the Mistborn game of Sanderson, you have Catan. It's amazing, especially when you are like not close. And for example, I could join, and if you want you can join us, and you can join, maybe you can do a party, all of us together, and we can do that. I also, what do I like to most? I like to listen to music, of course, Britney Spears. I'll try to show you as you can see, my bedroom. I have here my Britney Spears collection. I finally finished my Britney Spears collection. Free Britney. I have here a Hedwig, but here like Baby, Oops, Britney, In the Zones, My Prerogative, Blackout, Circus, The Singles Collection, Femme Fatale, Britney Jean, Glory, and of course, and that is a double album. Now, there is the other shelf that I have. As you can see, I have a lot of books, so I cannot do a overview shelf tour because, well, it's too much. So yeah, basically is that. I like to listen to music, Eurovision, some movies, some TV series. I'm not a major fan of seeing a lot of movies and television, like spending a whole day. But if I start a show, I will definitely watch it like very fast and very obsessively. And now Katie asked me, what's a class you have taken that you loved? I think I didn't answer that on the last part of the video. I talked a little bit of classes, but one that I really loved, besides labs, everything was lab collected. I really liked it. One of those was advanced control systems. It's a hands down class. I really like those, where we had a project in a group where my professor created a factory with variables, and they were like, we have to study the factory, we have to put the controls there, you have to make the control system for that. And that's so interesting because you see the strategies that we can imply for some factory. Imagine you are controlling a flow. If something happens to that flow, it will change the whole factory and we can change the outcome and the product. So how do you control that? How are the strategies? What can you control? You can control the flow, you can control the velocity, you can control other variables that will connect to that flow. It's so interesting, it's so dynamic, and it has a lot of different strategies. So I love that. It's one of my favorite classes that I take. Yeah, I think it was one of my favorite classes. And thank you so much, both of you, to making the questions. And now let's go to the past two. Okay, the next question, let's move to the next question. And the next question is from Sunshine Lorena. Thank you so much. And she asked me, why did you start your channel? What is your all-time favorite book? So why did I start my channel? I discovered booktube like 2 years ago, 2.5 years. And I was like, oh my God, people talking about books on internet. I really love that. I really want to be part of it. And then I start seeing that the people that I discovered was not much the style I liked, so I was a little bit scared. But then I found Murphy Napier, and she did the style that I liked, and I was like, yes, I want to do it. And I want to be able to talk to people about books, to learn more about other suggestions, to make recommendations. And I think I wanted that feeling that, oh, I read that book because you said it and I loved it, and I'll be like, oh, thank you, and I wanted to discuss a little bit, to have friends to talk about books, to have friends to read with me, to buddy reads, to just say, well, let's read that book together and we discuss. That's what I wanted. I don't have friends that like to read. My boyfriend also doesn't like to read so much, so I don't have that connection here, and I wanted to just talk about books. I think it's basically what we all are here doing. The second part is, what is your all-time favorite book? That's almost all, like asking, like, who, we have like 7 siblings, who is your favorite daughter or son? Like, I have a lot of time favorite. If I had to pick just one, I would say 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Probably. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Let's stick with that. Then Suspiros da Bia, thank you Bia, you're so lovely. She made me 3 questions. First, book that you have to read or else we are no longer friends. It's here. This is the book. See how bully she is with me? She made me read this. She bought this to me so I can read, and she says I will be amazed by this. Let's see. But yeah, this is the book I have to read or we are no longer friends. She asked me what is my favorite food. So I have 2 major foods that I really enjoy. One is arroz de cabidela, which is rice, usually with chicken or rabbit, that is cooked with the blood of the animal. It sounds disgusting, but it's not, because while the blood is cooking, it adds vinegar and it will react with the blood, and it's so good. It's like it's this black rice that is look like chocolate. That's what we said to kids, and it's so good because it's very tasty. It doesn't taste like blood at all, and it's amazing. It's so wet, especially when it's made in the moment, and you put like the bread inside and you catch. It's so good. I really love that. The second one is duck rice, which is basically rice that is cooked on the water of boiling the duck. Then it's cooked with saffron, so it gives a little bit of that yellow color. It's so good. And then we put it like rice, duck, rice, and then takes chorizo, a salty one with a lot of fat, so it can go to the oven. The rice starts to become crispy. The chorizo release the fat and the flavor to the rice. It's so good. It's always my food in my birthday, so yeah, it's the two of my favorite foods. If I had to pick one of them, I couldn't, because I love them both. Last question she did was dream travel place. I have a few. I always wanted to take a trip to Egypt and to go down the Nile and see everything. It's not the safest place for me, for reasons we know about. But yeah, I would love to go to New York. Not because of the city itself, I don't know. But yeah, I would love to go shopping. I love to go on Broadway. I think if I went to New York, like, I will be every evening on Broadway. I don't care how much it will cost me, but see every single musical, because I love musical theater. Like, I saw that Logan went to see Anastasia, and like full jealous mode, because I love the idea and I love the songs. So yeah, I definitely want to go to New York to see that. And then I want to know my country, know Europe, London, Paris, north of south of France, Germany, Denmark, Belgium, all the countries in Europe. I think I would like to go. Greece, Italy, Spain. Spain is much near here, but yeah. So next question is from Rana, and she said top 3 books of all time. She's more nice then, because it's not just one, it's 3. So 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, 19 Minutes from Jodi Picoult. What a shocker, Jodi Picoult book here. And then a third of all time. Let me think. Miss Bourne, maybe. I really love the second one. Another from Jodi? No, I'm not going to pick another from Jodi. Let me think. Books that I amazed. Yeah, for now I will say Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I was thinking maybe Red Button Royal Blue, but I was like, do I like more one than the other? I feel I like some Heartstopper a little bit more than Red Button Royal Blue. I don't know. I think I like it a little bit more because it's more real. Continuing with the questions, I have one from Aida, and it's, what is your least read genre? So I will exclude genres that I don't read at all. For example, historical romance, I'll have to read one, but it's not a genre that I read. Self-help books, erotica, what more genres that I don't read? Yeah, basically are these ones, right? From the genres that I like, I think my most read genre is sci-fi. I want to pick more sci-fi books because I like the concepts, I like the ideas, I like the science behind it, I like the tropes, but I never pick it up books. I don't know why, but I really like the concepts. When I hear Michael, more specifically Michael, talking about each sci-fi book, I was like, that's so cool, I really liked it. But then I never pick it up so many sci-fi books, and yeah, I think it's my least read genre of all the genres that I've read. So the next question I have here is from Julie from The Angry Bookworm, and she says, how did you come up with your name for your channel? So it was not an easy task. I didn't want to be something like just my name, just like Ulapa for example, like Who Says Who Reads or something like that. I want it to be something more personal and something more as a brand, something more that represents me. And I think one thing that represents me is what I am as a worker, as what I do for working and for living and for study, which is a scientist. And was what I wanted to do as a kid was to be a scientist. So I start, okay, it has to be with scientists, something with scientists. And then I start playing with scientist book world, scientist book journey, scientist reading world, you know. I start playing with scientists or books of the scientists or book world of the scientists. I start playing with this, and then when I said scientist reading world, yeah, scientist reading world sounds good. That's what I am, and I really like the idea. I really like, and then I just went through doing the logo and everything, so it was very fun. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it was a little bit tricky, but when I think and I experiment the scientist reading world, I loved it, and that's how I say it. So I have one question from Dora that I answered to her like 3 times, I think, almost. But she asked me, why do I have the channel in English? So, first, the booktube community in Portugal is not the biggest. You have a lot of booktubers, yes, and you have some subscribers, but when you think that the biggest booktuber may have like 3K, comparing to international booktubers that can easily reach 3K, it's like, okay, it's very not, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was a very of a challenge, and I like to be a challenge. Then since I want to be a challenge, I didn't want to be in Portuguese because it won't be a challenge for me. I speak Portuguese every day. Oh, I want it to be in English because I knew that will help me to improve my language, improve my speech, and improve the way that I think in English. That for me is important as a scientist. All the papers I read are in English. All the papers that I write are in English. All the conferences that I go are in English. So I have to prepare myself also that I'll be next year maybe presenting on an international conference my work in English, and I cannot be afraid of speaking English, and I have to be more fluent. So it was one of the reasons, was the community being a little bit smaller, and the height that you can get is not the highest that I wanted. I'm a very ambitious person. Then I wanted the challenge. I want to be challenging myself to read in English, to speak in English, to improve my English speaking, to interact with people. I understand that the evolution is different. For example, in Portugal, if you start a channel in Portuguese, you may gain a lot of subscribers in very fast because the community is so close and it's so supportive that you gain a lot of subscribers, but then you start growing smaller. Here it's a little bit the reverse. There is like more or less a logarithmic function where it starts very well and then it starts to decrease. Here is more or less like an exponential one. In the beginning it's very slow, but then we find the point, can be a video, can be an idea, that you explode and boom, you start growing, and you see, bigger the channel, the bigger is the growing. So I want that. Then I read a lot of books in English. I still have a lot of books in Portuguese, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of books I still want to read that I bought or that I was gift or I got the Portuguese edition, and they are in Portuguese. But I also read a lot of new releases, a lot of books that I got in ARCs that are not published in Portugal. And to say that, oh, but you can think people maybe one day is published. Yes, Evelyn Hugo took almost 4 years to be published in Portugal. Now they are a bit better. For example, Amari and the Night Birds are being published. The Vanishing Half, Midnight Library. I think they are start looking for what is having a boom and start to putting, but it's still very low comparing to what I read. And for example, fantasy, it's not so well published. From that you just have Amari, I think. Sanderson is not being published anymore, at least. You just have the Mistborn trilogy. The Witcher is finished. Dragonlance, we have just that 4 volumes. The 3, I think the 4th is no longer published. A Darker Shadow of Magic is published, but the rest of the books is not. Adilaru is now published. but I have a lot of thrillers, sometimes are not published, sci-fi, like some site, contemporary, like Cinderella's Dead, boyfriend material, Red, White, and Royal Blue. As far as still techniques, it was that, and I don't want to talk with people that, oh yeah, its book sounds interesting. Maybe one day the book will come to Portugal. Yeah, if the book comes, yeah, but till then, for example, Fatima, which I really like her, I think she doesn't read in English, but she saw my videos. But each time that she sees a book, like, oh, this book it is in Portuguese, I feel like sometimes, hey, no, there's no in Portuguese, or there was, but there is no longer published. So you see, that was one of the reasons also I want to do in English, because it's easier to find the books, and it's much more likely that someone will read something that I recommend because there is availability. And in that case, imagine if even if I did the channel in Portuguese and the book, if the person's reading English, if the person reads in English can see my videos because I speak English, she reads in English, so she can understand me. So, but yeah, these are mostly the main reasons. I want a bigger community, I want to have a challenge, I want to grow more, I wanted to talk to people, getting recommendation from outside, but also recommending books that the people can read more and more faster and even more accessibility. And yeah, because I won't change the world in Portugal, so yeah. So let's continue with the questions. Jojo, my lovely Jojo, asked me which part of your country you would like to know better. Well, I don't know a lot of my country. I visit Viana do Castelo, which is the north of Portugal. I visit Porto with B and Jojo, and also alone. I visit Évora. I know a bit of Algarve, but I definitely wanted to know more the islands. Jojo is from one of them, so I really want to meet the islands. I want to meet Portugal at all. I want to know Portugal as a whole, like the more villages to the north, to the south, the more interior, the exterior, to more from near to the coast, the islands. So yeah, I think I don't have a part of your country. I wish I would know more about, for example, the islands, because I think it's the more distant part from us, because here on the continent it's much easier to travel. You can go to the north in 3 hours in car or in the train, same thing to the south. But I know some places. I would like to go back to Vienna because it's so beautiful and I really enjoyed that. I went there with my boyfriend, so it was a beautiful journey. And yeah, it's amazing. I would like that. And the last question that Jojo asked me is, if you could travel to any books world, which one will be and why? Well, I think it's not a surprise from my generation that, or a lot of people in my generation, that I wanted to go to Hogwarts. I want to go to the Wizarding World. All of us grew up watching the movies or reading the books, and we always wanted to receive that letter saying, "You are a wizard." Yes, I'm going to Hogwarts, even though J.K. Rowling is an asshole. We want that fantasy world. We always wanted to be a wizard and playing with wands and defeat the bad guys and using like Patrono, Expecto Patronos, Incendio, Expelliarmus, Flipendo. I love that, and I would love to go to Hogwarts like for a year without the war, like just to learn potions. I think I would be great in potions. Like, I'm a chemist. Basically, what I do are potions, so maybe Snape would like me. Maybe I would win that frozen heart. Okay, I have here one question. Let's continue with Stars Reads YA that asks me, what two Disney characters do you think you are a combination of? First, answer yourself, then have a friend or a family member answering without them knowing your answer. Okay, what characters do I think I am? I think I'm a bit Belle because of the reading part and the investigation part, especially if you see the live action adaptation with Emma Watson, that she's very like an engineer. So I'll definitely put on the mental and nerdy side of Belle with a little bit. Okay, I think I found it, because I was thinking someone that is sassy, because I like to be sassy sometimes, and I like to have that like answer that is very sarcastic and people are like, really? I'm like, yeah, like, back it up. But I also very friendly and I really like to help my friends. And then I think like, yeah, perfect. Because I was looking for Stitch and Stitch is very cuddly. But I think like Mushu, like, who is the funniest character that you met? It's Mushu. We have Timon and Pumbaa. They are very close contenders, but Mushu is sassy. You dishonor your cow, of course. And it's very helpful. And although sometimes he does bad things, he also very supportive. So I think I would be Belle plus Mushu. I'll ask my best friend from the UK. Okay, I'll insert here the video so you can see like the answers. For answering Star Reads YA question, I asked my best friend and he said Belle and Stitch. And he asked me then if Raven would count, but I just said Belle and Stitch, so I get one right. And then I asked also the same question for Bia and Jojo. And in our question, Bia said Mushu and Lightning McQueen. And Jojo said also Mushu, definitely. And I think we're incredible sweet with cute heart like Prince Eric. So my friends know me like half of what I think. So I think I did a good job. Thank you, Star. Then we have questions here from Rainbow Sky Gay and Proud, who asked me 4 questions. He really likes to ask me questions. The first question is, who are your favorite LGBTQ writers? By now, I really like Alice Oseman. I really like Kwesi McKinson. But I don't know, for me, a writer, I have to read more than one book from them, like Jodie, that I've read a lot, so I can know the different books and not just, for example, a book series. So, but if I had to pick, I think I haven't picked anyone that I've read like more than one book. But I really like the writing style of TJ Klune. I really liked Casey McQuiston, Red, White, and Royal Blue. Adam Silvera and Becky Albertelli were amazing on What If It's Us. And I really want to pick Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda and the sequel, and also Adam Silvera's other books. But yeah, some of them are this. I think I'll have to read more about those books to actually say one answered. Second question is, what genres do you like to read the most? Well, if you follow my channel, or because I have new people here, I like very much fantasy, historical fiction. When I say historical fiction, it's not that, like, for example, Julia Quinn style. It's more the City of Girls, Evelyn Hugo, Coco Chanel, or Memoirs of Cleopatra. Stories that even there are based on real persons, like Philippa Gregory, for example, or based on certain eras, but where the main focus is not just that romance and that cheesy romance that we know will end happily. It's like the setting, it's like knowing what it was like to live in the 40s, in the 50s, basically what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man, what it means to be gay, like a love story. I really like that because it shows the AIDS pandemic on the 80, I think it was the 89 and 90. So, it showed the different reality that we live today, and I really like that. I really like a good thriller. Has to be creepy, has to be disgusting, has to be dark. Norwegian thrillers are great for that. I like a good detective story, the ones that made you think and made you like mind-blowing, and you're like, what the hell, why he's the killer? And then when you start seeing the things, you're like, yeah, I never thought about that. That is a good mystery thriller that I like to read. But yeah, fantasy, I would like a good contemporary, or when it brings new twists and it brings new discussions and we insert things that we are not accustomed to see. I think there are my most favorite genres to read the most. Third question is, do you write fiction? Yes. No, you're not gonna see it. But yeah, I have 4 books started. I will explain very quickly, because when I was in high school with my best friend in your junior year, or 1 year before the senior year, more or less, we had this idea on summer to start reading a book. start writing a book, and it was to be a contemporary, like, romance story between four group of friends. They will fall in love with each other. But then the thing, I start writing a lot my part, because I will give voice to one of the characters. I think his name was Andrew, and that was what it ended. We never write anymore, and we had a little bit disagreement how the end will go. I wanted one way, she wanted another way. But yeah, that stuck. Now, for my idea, I started 2 books. One would be a total fantasy, more a little bit YA, not very high fantasy and very epic, but would be like good versus evil, with travel dimensions, going to different worlds, different cultures, time traveling also, with a lot of fantasy and magic involved with mythology. And I start to have, I like to have the idea. I already have the end for that, but it stuck. I'm missing the middle. I know how it started because I already written some part. I know how it's gonna end, but I don't know how it's gonna be in the middle. But I have some part of this written myself. I was then rewriting in English, but then I was making some mistakes on the writings, so I switched again to Portuguese. So yeah. Then I have a third one that is a contemporary with magic, about a boy who starts to have dreams, and dreams come to be a little bit like reality, and I know how I want it to end. He doesn't have an easy life in home. He has problems with the family, with what they want him to be. He has a supportive friend and teacher. And I know how, like I said, I know how it started because I have that part written, like 17 pages. And I know how I want it to end, very well how I want it to end. I really know how it's gonna be, but stuck in the middle. I never thought about that. I never thought I would be a writer. It was just something that I wanted for fun. Blaming a little bit on my Portuguese teacher, because she always said to me that I had so great imagination, that I was so good in writing. She wanted me to go pursue like a language career. I was like, no, I don't like to study language. I like to study science. I didn't like at all studying Portuguese, English, French. I like to study like the grammar. So yeah, I have some fiction written, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna pick it up, at least sooner, but I have a lot of ideas. I'm perfect to have someone who is a great writer, and I pitch the idea and he writes. And then I read it and say, no, it's not what I think. Try to put like this, and that, and then he writes and I pitch the idea. That will be a perfect duo. And this is the last question from Rainbow Sky again, Proud. What do you think? What do you like about Steve? Who is Steve? Sorry, I don't know what you mean with Steve. Comment here what do you mean about Steve, and I'll answer in the comments, because I really don't understand what you like about Steve. But thank you for doing it. Hi guys, Editing Hugo here. So as you guys told me on Instagram and on Twitter, I asked you if you want a full video or in 2 parts. Most of you said in 2 parts, so here I am to close the first part. This was the first part of the Q&A. Tomorrow at the same time, I just know it is 1 p.m. on Lisbon, UK time, but the second part comes out tomorrow, Sunday. And thank you so much for the questions right now. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for the rest of the questions. Bye.